You didn't know you'd have an added piece of meditation this morning, did you? I like to mix up the music so that everyone gets something that resonates to them, because not one thing resonates to everyone. And this is a younger person in our New Thought movement. Her name is Jessie Powers. And I just think it's important that we mix it up so that we can hear different folks. So, last week I spoke about one of those things that no one likes to talk about. Money. I know, it's one of those things that's like a dirty word. So before I speak in any other way, I would like to shift over to something that I've just started last month. And that is an updated vision statement and mission statement. And I'm still working on the flow of where I'm supposed to say this. So it will seem odd that I'm saying it now, but it still needs to be said. So it's not up there yet, but we'll get there where we have that posted for you to see, and I can have copies available for you also. Our vision statement is CSLB is an inclusive and transformational community of spiritual practice. Our mission is that we are a place of peace where all are welcome, respected, and appreciated. We're a loving community where lives are transformed through the teaching of the Science of Mind principles, using tools for everyday practice, supporting us to be the best, authentic version of ourselves. We're inclusive, seeing all people as the face of God, regardless of ethnicity, gender, or age, creating a world that works for everyone. And I just think it's important to kind of anchor things with that. So as I had mentioned before, the theme for October is Everyday Wonder in Finance. And again, because we're starting the pledge campaign, I spoke about the value and the importance of that last week. This week I'm talking about Let It Flow. Weird that the song from Frozen comes into my mind when I say that. But I'm curious, when you hear the expression, let it flow, does anything come to your mind? Water. Okay. Anything else? Life itself. Fantastic. So we have some flowing, some fluidity, if you will. Well, I was thinking about this yesterday when I drove over to the center to do something. Okay, letting it flow is allowing your good in. Think about that for a moment. We just expressed the flow of life, water, which is fluid. So letting it flow is actually allowing your good in. We were born as prosperous beings. And unfortunately, somewhere along the line, that got shifted. Our flow got blocked. It's like the hose that gets a kink in it, no water comes out, and then you realize that happens and water spurts everywhere. Well, part of why our flow gets blocked is we have a lot of beliefs that we took on as little ones that we're not aware of, and we keep on with them. And one of those things is I'm not deserving to have my good in my life. I can only have a little good in my life. Well, it's not fair for me to have good and somebody else not have good. So we have a lot of stories around our flow, our openness to being receptive. And I'm curious as to what do you think it might be like if you actually thought about what's blocking your personal flow? I mean, it's nothing you have to share with me. It's just time to reflect on what would be blocking your flow. I often hear, including myself, which I am now doing a better job of catching myself, oh, I would love to do this, but I can't afford it. Oh, Oh gosh, I'd really love to join you, but I can't afford it. And so part of what's blocking our flow is the languaging like that we're not conscious of. I don't think we're conscious of it when we say I can't afford it. And so I'm wanting us just to think about our relationship to our good, because our good is more than just our money. It is every aspect of ourself. Like there's something within us that's desiring to be expressed and to be known. What will it take for you to support that part of yourself in your own consciousness to ignite the infinite flow within you? Unclog the kink in your hose. Yeah, it's a great visual. So I'd like to offer up a great quote from our beloved founder, Ernest Holmes. Here and now, we're surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this good is ours? All of it. Okay, I'm going to say that again. How much of it is ours? Repeat back. All of it. Okay, let's just sit with that. Some of you are busy saying a bunch of things about that right now. How much of it may we have to use? So, how much do we have to use? As much as we can embody. So I'm going to read that again because that's kind of profound. Here and now, we are surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this infinite good is ours? We don't think about all of it. We start mind chatter about it. So all of it. And how much of it may we have to use? And again, as much as we're willing to embody. And that has to do with every aspect of your life, not just money. That's about receiving and being receptive to our good. That came from the Science of Mind text. For those of you that are checking me, it's page 50, paragraph 2. So again, we live in an infinite universe. Every form of wealth, which is love, health, financial freedom, creativity, and on, and yet we let just a tiny little bit trickle in. Why? Because on some level we feel that that's all we're able to embody. It's that little tiny bit that wants to trickle in. However, the universe being vast and abundant, and source energy, God, Spirit wants you to accept the bounty of your kingdom, we make it okay to let a little tiny bit trickle in. I personally think that having more creativity, more love, more vibrant health would be fantastic. And yes, of course, money as well. So I look at my own self and say, what part of me has a clamp on the hose that's not letting it flow? And again, that song from Frozen comes into my head. Let it flow. So I'm just going to invite us to continue to look at blocks that block our flow. Limited beliefs, stories we've accepted for years and years that block our flow. Oh, I can't take a trip that I've always wanted to take my entire life because, well, you know, and then we make up the story of why we can't. And then we tell ourselves, well, I'll do that later when I'm older. Yeah, and then what happens? Then we're older and we either don't have the energy, the interest, the physical capacity, as well as money and the other stories that go along with it. As opposed to saying, I'm going to do this thing I've always wanted to do because I deserve it. And if I genuinely believe that I live in an abundant universe and everything is provided for me, known and unknown, I'm going to set my intention and do it. And trust that because I am going to do it, a way is being made for it to happen. instead of the continuous story of why I can't. So most of us have heard of the law of attraction, okay? And we understand the law of attraction is opening ourselves up to attract things in. And that's usually things, tangible things. Notice I said attracting them in, because we're focused on things that are out there and we want to attract them in. I'm going to ask us to reconsider that a little bit, because it's already inside, and yet we're looking out there to bring it in. So what if we practice the law of radiation, meaning the radiant energy that's already within us, already present here and now. And if we activate that energy, we activate our receptivity for our good, then yes, we can apply the law of attraction, of attracting things in, based on the fact that it's coming from within us, in that sense of deserving, allowing, and accepting and expecting our good. So I just want you to think about it a little differently, because it goes back to what's blocking our good. Is it faith or little faith that we deserve it? Or not willing to have a vision to allow it in? It's just things to contemplate through this month of talking about finance, but also how everything is about our own prosperity consciousness. So having that little graph up there that shows people that are tithing versus money was like a more positive symbol of saying how many people are contributing to their good, okay? Because money is God in action. Okay, I know many people believe that it's bad to have money and it's not part of our spiritual practice. So since many of you might feel that way, we've been in a class, and it's the Spiritual Principles and Practices, and I've been working with the book, this thing called You. And we've been reading this book in first person and noticing how powerful it is, instead of just talking about it out there, bringing it home to in here. So I want to read just a very short, tiny thing to you. My affairs are in the keeping of infinite wisdom. I am guided by divine intelligence. The activity of spirit inspires my mind and flows through my actions. Life lies open to me, rich, full, and abundant. Didn't say anything about money. It said, I am guided by divine intelligence to accepting my good. And anyone that has the book that's interested in where I got that from, it's on page, if it's the old version like I have, it's on page 37. Those of you with the new version, it's a few pages after that. So I was again contemplating and looking at many books about abundance and prosperity. One thing that I pulled from Reverend Dr. Catherine Ponder, who is a Unity minister. I have many of her books, and this is a quote from her, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. She says, I expect lavish abundance every day in every way in my life and affairs. Let me say it again. I expect lavish abundance every day in every way in my life and affairs. And by saying and claiming I expect, it is saying to source energy, God, Spirit, I am open to the lavish abundance you have generously to give me. I accept. I'm willing. Because, Great Spirit, God's just waiting for you to get out of your own way to say, yeah, I deserve it. Bring it on. Okay? And I wanted to say that so that as we are asking you to make a conscious effort in a pledge, I want you to just realize that money is not a bad thing. And we use the money in our budget to create new things in the new year, which we have said for this year, oh, we don't have funds for that. Cancel, cancel. I don't want to be saying that next year. Oh, we don't have funds for that. Sorry. We'd really like to expand our music ministry, maybe bring back a choir, bring live music in. We don't have funds for that. When we don't have funds for something, what it said is, not that important, really. Yeah, not that important. So we won't. Yeah, ouch, that's right. And if we want to bring different forms of entertainment in, and we want to be able to view it in the sanctuary and in Carter Hall, many of you have said to me, why can't we watch it in both rooms? We need upgrades in the equipment to do so. We have the people that will install it. We don't have the equipment. So you see where I'm going with this? It's not about me saying, we need more money in the budget so you can pay me. Yes, I am lavish and I expect my good, but that does not mean that I'm looking at all of you to provide it for me. I'm looking at it to be provided for this community so that we can also look at different projects we want to be about in outreach to the community. Because we do every month tithe money to projects as well as actively involve ourselves. And I'd like to stand up here next year and rattle off a bunch of things we did because we were in a prosperity, expectancy, abundant consciousness. And I say that there's people in this room that tithe tremendously to this community. There's people in this room that show up once in a while, and we're always excited when you come. And you put, a little bit of money in the till. Thank you. And then there's folks that come randomly a couple times a month, and they put a more structured format in there. I'm just asking you to relook at what you do with things. And what if you actually sat with that in prayer and said, because I am so abundant, I am able to give this specific amount every month to the center that spiritually feeds me. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Otherwise, next week I won't see any of you in here because you'll be like, oh my God, she's going to keep talking about that for gosh, how many more weeks? But I want to end with this lovely reading. And one of our beloved congregants, who just happens to be on the finance team, no name, brought this to me. I have been saying this every day since she brought this to me. This is out of what was Creative Thought magazine, which is no longer in circulation. Many of us used it for years. And this is by our beloved, now retired, just recently, Reverend Dr. John Waterhouse. Yes, some of you know him. Yes, I'm getting God bumps from that. Beloved man. He wrote this affirmation for his community to say every day, for themselves as well as the well-being of their community. So here it goes. I, and you can insert your name, or we could change it to we as CSLB, know that God is the source of all supply and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. This word which I speak in faith, knowing, now activates universal law, and I accept the results. I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase. And I know that I now prosper in every way. I give thanks for this good, and so it is. And so it is. And if any of you like that, okay, I'm going to go make copies later and I'll put it out. So if any of you like that and you want to read it for yourself, and you may consider, it's just a consideration, changing it to We, Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. So you might read it for yourself and our community. Because remember I said that law of radiation, radiating the energy, that will help activate and radiate that energy so that which I/we/you are seeking to see and experience and be in 2023 is already a sacred yes in our minds. And if any of that resonates with you, would you please anchor it by saying, and so it is. Let us take a moment to step into prayer. And knowing right where we are, whether we're here in the sanctuary or we're in the sanctuary of the virtual love shack, right here where we are, God is, Source is, universal love is. And we are blessed to know that we are part of that consciousness, part of that energy, part of that flow. And anywhere where there has been a block in my flow, in your flow, we are willing to release the block, and instead of having a trickle, we have a flow. We allow the flow. We expect the flow. I'm so thankful. And I give thanks in advance just knowing, because I'm willing to say yes to it, that perhaps many of you too are willing to say yes to the flow of our good, and that we not put a limitation on what we can embody as our good and how much good we deserve, all of it. And that each and every one of us just sits with that as the truth that we choose to be believing today. I'm giving thanks, I'm giving great thanks, knowing that as I'm speaking this truth, and so believe it to be true, that I release this word to the action of law, knowing God has got it. I let go, I release, knowing it's already done. And knowing that I can just let go, exhale with expectancy. And I invite you also to anchor it with me by saying, and so it is, and so we let it be. So now, now we just allow a little more music in, because music is good for our soul.
There's nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. There's nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can say that can't be said. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. All you need is love.
What a wonderful rendition from the Beatles by Faith Rivera. Love is all you need. And it's now that time for joyful giving. And the reason I say joyful is because, again, if you allow that you give out to feel joyful, it energizes everything and makes it more joyful. And I want to remind everyone, when people say things to me like, I have nothing to give, we have so many opportunities for sacred service. Ushers, greeters, kitchen angels, as well as a list of other opportunities that maybe we have not thought of. And so on that table, we have a sign up. And that way it offers up ideas that we can use, that you can participate in. And that is part of your giving, your sacred giving. Anyone on the Virtual Love Shack that you have creative ideas that you can implement, please put it in the chat. We'd love to know, because we're expanding our box of how we can do anything. So if the ushers will please come forward. This is that time, whether you give in a tangible way here, through cash, coins, credit cards, or you do it virtually. We have many opportunities for you to give and to remember you are valued, so you always have something to give.
I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So let's just read this together. Can I have you put it back up, just because I forgot to have everybody read it before we started in song. Which song, of course, energizes all of our blessings. So, from God I receive, to God I give. Together we share the blessings we live. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. And a reminder that after service, practitioners